The outbreak in China is spreading at an unprecedented rate, with Chinese officials admitting in an internal document 2 weeks ago that nearly 300 million people have been infected nationwide. The exact number isn't currently available. Very strong evidence suggests that there is a high mortality rate in this wave of the epidemic. Because of the restrictive rules of this platform, we cannot show images of hospitals in China where they are filled with bodies. It's instead replaced with updated scenes of funeral homes and crematoriums. I am now in line at Ba Baoshan Funeral Parlor to say goodbye to my aunt. Look, the funeral parlor's vehicles are lined up all the way to this end. And look, alas, it takes a week to get the ashes after sending the deceased here to be cremated. It's very sad. This is a funeral home in Laizhou, Shandong. Here, a food freezer has been temporarily modified to store coffins. Airfinity, a UK-based surveillance data analytics company, has released the latest results based on its projection model that forecasts the outbreak deaths in China. Data as of December 30th, 2022 shows that there are about 11,000 deaths per day from the epidemic. We consider this to be a very conservative estimate. Previously, we analyzed that the bodies incinerated in one city, Beijing alone, were about 4,000 or so per day. Now, except for a few high-ranking officials who can be cremated alone, the rest are all mixed together with 2 or 3 bodies at one go. So the daily death toll in Beijing alone is already around 10,000, not to mention that so many crematoria around China are at full capacity, on the edge of collapsing. So, is this all a natural phenomena? Are there more secrets behind it? According to Sohu.com, on the night of December 24th, a Beijing citizen posted that his son tested the tap water with an antigen reagent and the results showed 2 bars. He tested again and came up with the same result, so he suspected the tap water was positive. After that, China's official media carried out a large-scale debunking of rumors. Beijing Water Group responded that antigen test strips aren't meant for testing tap water. When pouring water into the test solution, it will destroy the composition of the test solution. The results don't have referential value, and even if the test is positive, it doesn't have any real meaning. But the so-called debunking claim was debunked by a Chinese Twitter user who posted, "A friend sent me a photo and said, I tested the tap water in New York using made in China's antigen reagent. The results returned negative after 15 minutes, proving that tap water doesn't spoil the test solution." In addition, many people from about 10 provinces have posted on WeChat that planes have been found sowing unknown substances in their areas. A large number of local people have subsequently tested positive. A Chinese Twitter user retweeted a screenshot saying that the news of poisoning by planes is now being circulated among the Chinese social media WeChat. Such phenomena are now noted in many parts of China. The man who claimed the plane was spreading poison was previously a journalist in China. In an interview with the Voice of America, he said he was hunted across the border by local police around March 2022 for his involvement in the search for the truth concerning the Zhuzhou chained woman. China's crackdown on free speech was more brutal than he could have imagined. After being interrogated several times by the police, he became disheartened and began researching how to escape. He did so every day like James Bond till he successfully arrived in the US in July. He said, "All my original expectations of the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, have been shattered." As we previously reported, local CCP governments were instructed to complete the task of infecting the entire population by the time the CCP convenes its 2 sessions in March 2023. So, is the Beijing government intentionally pushing for an accelerated virus spread? This possibility cannot be ruled out, as what we see now is a viral explosion that is difficult to explain.
Let
me show you. Come and see. This is all jammed up to wherever. The vehicles. I can only walk in now. This is the crematorium. One can't even drive in. It's full of people. It has been burning 24 hours straight. Previously, it was only burning until 12 noon.
I am at the cremation site in Wuhan County. It is now after 5 p.m. and there are still these vehicles. All coffins, everywhere, In some hospitals, there are no patients on the beds, only coffins. Yes, the patients were wiped out. This is a funeral home in Hebei province, a long line of hearses and people wearing white late at night to see off their deceased loved ones. In the rural areas, because of the sudden increase in the number of deceased, residents in one village alone have to dig at least a dozen grave pits. In the tsunami of the epidemic, Chinese experts still insist that this is Omicron, and it's similar to a cold, with mild symptoms that can turn negative in 7 or 8 days, so there is no need to be nervous and go to the hospital. To this day, the official Chinese media still insists on this claim, both at home and abroad. After being infected with the Omicron variant, most patients have only upper respiratory symptoms, and a few may develop pneumonia. The patients who develop pneumonia are related to autoimmune status and the existence of risk factors. Others develop pneumonia because of the patient's own physical conditions, such as weakened immunity. We have also treated such patients. Even if they are admitted to the hospital in a timely manner under our supervision, this disease still went from mild to severe to pneumonia. There are also some patients who are on the verge of becoming serious cases. This might have been prevented from developing the severe diseases with prompt treatment, so prompt treatment might have prevented some people from developing the severe disease. Many Chinese netizens have described how they feel after becoming positive. It's completely different from what the experts claim. This is the personal experience of a worker in a hospital. Friends, I have been positive for more than 10 days and I still can't carry 40 kilos of medicine on my back. I mean buckets of 40 kilograms. Inside are sterilizing and disinfecting liquids. I don't have the strength to carry them up a flight of stairs. I am out of breath, mainly because I can't catch my breath. These days, every day, we have to see off a few people who passed away. There are a few every day. We provide aftercare services to these families. We have to face a lot of anger, but there is nothing we can do. If I were to become positive one more time, I probably won't survive. I almost didn't make it this time. This isn't exaggerating to scare people. Brothers, listen to the sound in the background. Do you hear it? It's another deceased person being dragged away. Oh, it's really disturbing. Who do you think is taking the elderly as cutting leaks? Let me tell you, not only the elderly, but many 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds have been taken away as well. So everyone must take care, okay? After getting this virus, the first 3 days are okay. The fever recedes after the first 3 days. Only then will you face a big problem. If you have symptoms again 3 days later, it's going to be very difficult to pass this hurdle. I know it very well. Even now, I'm still short of breath, I don't have any energy, I don't have any strength in my body, and I feel weak. It's said this virus is similar to a cold, or less serious than it. Have those bullshit experts experienced it themselves? Have these so-called specialists come out and demonstrated again? The Chinese media have started a peculiar way of reporting the news. The so-called positive headlines have more or less revealed the actual situation. For example, the headline of this report reads, Wuhan Union Hospital's success rate of saving critically ill patients reaches about 97%. The article reads, due to the surge of infected patients, as of press time, all disciplines in the hospital are actively treating patients with Omicron infection, with critically ill patients accounting for 40% of the hospital's inpatients. This is almost identical to the official media reports in Shanghai that 20% of the patients have white lungs. Doctors from unofficial sources were even more direct in their statements. Today, I saw a patient 68 years old. His lung looked like this. He had a fever for 5 days. I'm afraid you don't get it. I've marked the spot here. That's what we call a viral lung. Now it's a big white lung. Does he need to be hospitalized? Of course, he needs to be hospitalized because his lung is already seriously infected. But can he be admitted to the hospital? Not likely. Do you think I can go into the ICU and get rid of a patient to give him a bed? Can he get oxygen? If you look at the resuscitation room, which patient's oxygen tube can I remove and hook him up to? Can I give him IV fluids? You go take a look. Where else can you move the patient and put him in? If so, I'll do it. But no. So the family members were angry, furious, slapping my desk, slamming the stool in a frenzy, pointing at my nose and cursing me with the most vulgar language. But I didn't say anything and let them vent their rage. Why wouldn't I want to hospitalize them? Why didn't I want them to be treated? But look, this is a 78-year-old. Look, his lungs are like this. He's been waiting for 2 days for a bed. This is a 92-year-old who has been waiting for 3 days. People passed away in our emergency department before a bed was made available. After watching this footage, do you wonder as well? Is this still the Omicron? When did the Omicron become so ferocious? Of course, the official response from China is to debunk the rumors on a massive scale. Many people feel that white lung cases are on the rise and question whether there is a return of variant. The way to answer this question is to sequence the genes of severe and mild cases that emerge. This is the kind of work that the National Medical Center for Infectious Disease and the Disease Control and Prevention Departments have been conducting all the time. The spreading variants are by no means the Delta or the original strain. To determine the variant type, we need to continue to monitor it, rather than assuming that this is the Delta variant because of the increase in severe cases. That's not true, but the overall number of patients has increased during this time. White lung refers to the whitening of the lungs and is one of the signs of a serious lung infection, which was found in many of the new coronavirus victims in Wuhan in early 2020. Now this white lung phenomena is starting to appear on a large scale, especially in China's capital city of Beijing and Hebei province, where a large number of the deceased developed white lung symptoms. About 3 years ago, the original form of the new coronavirus spread from Wuhan to the rest of the world, where it was replaced by the Delta variant and then the Omicron variant and its successors, the viruses that continue to plague the world today. On December 22nd, Radio Free Asia reported that a researcher at a disease control center in China, a researcher surnamed Li at the Handan CDC in Hebei province, stated on that day that China had previously been under containment and that the virus had not had time to mutate from Delta to Omicron, so the two strains coexisted. Then, the sudden lifting of all containment and control of the epidemic everywhere led to rapid cross-infection and accelerated mutation of those infected, including the Omicron strain, and the Delta virus remained and continues to spread. The researcher said that the virus samples recently obtained from infected people in Beijing and Hubei included Delta strains in addition to BF7. They are mixed with different strains, so the mortality rate varies from region to region. This is positive. How can this happen? How can this virus be so strange? The eyes are swollen like this.
Open your eyes. Let me see.
Countless Chinese people have experienced a nightmarish 3 years that was thought to be the end, but it turned out to be the beginning of an even bigger nightmare. In front of the media cameras, they smiled and spoke of their bitter feelings. How should I say this? In the past few years, even in the year when the pandemic was at its worst, life was not so difficult. This has been the worst possible year. Let me just say that to you. Many Chinese netizens sum up their journey through 2022 with one short sentence: they are still alive. In China, where vaccines are ineffective and there are no effective medicines, where is the salvation from the plague? Previously, we featured an article written by Master Li Hongzhi, the founder of Falun Gong, at the beginning of the pandemic. In his article, Stay Rational, in March 2020, Master Li Hongzhi stated, "Truth be told, pandemics only come when people's morals and values have turned bad, and they have come to have a massive amount of karma." The article wrote, "But a pandemic like the current Chinese Communist virus or Wuhan virus comes with a purpose behind it, and it has targets. It is here to weed out members of the party and those who have sided with it." People should distance themselves from the CCP and stop siding with the party. Behind it is the Red Devil, while outwardly it looks and acts like a thug who stops at no evil. So now that the divine is starting to eradicate it, all who stand by it shall perish. Those who doubt this can wait and see. This article appeared on December 22, 2022 on the Chinese website of the Epoch Times Media Group. Although our channel is not affiliated with the Epoch Media Group, as we have seen in Chinese and Western history, the way of salvation at times transcends science. You can choose to go into detail or not to believe. In a time when so many lives are taken every day, such a statement is worth spreading for those who hear it to contemplate and choose. So, we would also like to repeat the call of Yi Rong, the president of the Global Withdrawal Center in New York. She urges Chinese people to withdraw from the Chinese Communist Party so that they can have a chance to survive the pandemic. The method is simple. Write a statement of quitting the party using a pseudonym and post it on any utility pole, public wall, or other similar place so that the oath they have taken will be null and void. Because every member of the CCP, including members of the Communist Youth League and the Young Pioneers, have sworn to devote their lives to communism and the Communist Party. The vast majority of Chinese people have to join these organizations in order to gain a foothold in this red country and society. Many Chinese join without much thought under the tight information control. In other words, they were deceived and tricked into joining the CCP and its affiliated organizations. For more than 100 years since its establishment, the CCP has been associated with disaster and death, and it's caused the deaths of tens of millions of Chinese people. Justice is its adversary and the object of persecution. It is only logical that by turning away from this evil and standing on the side of justice, one can gain a chance of salvation for oneself. There is no rush to counter it. In the face of priceless life, any voices that might enable one to survive are worth heeding.